Are you dealing with aggressive child behavior? That can be very frustrating, but there is hope. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, calmness, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about aggressive child behaviors. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about why children choose to get aggressive and then some key things that you can do so that you don't fall into the trap of power struggling. That's right, power struggling is the #1 trap that parents fall into when they have aggressive children. They assume that if the child is aggressive, that they need to be more aggressive to bring the child into control. And when the child is young, that might work sometimes, but sometimes even some youngsters do not respond to parent aggression. Sometimes children learn how to bond through aggression with their parents, and that's the way that they seek attachment, and they love the hugs that maybe come after when they get calm after that little bonding through the aggression. When that bonding through the aggression occurs. We don't want to be bonding with our children during aggressive moments, not when there's so many better ways to bond with the children through listening and teaching and cuddling and touching and smiling and being there for them. Those are much more productive ways to bond. There are other reasons that children choose to be aggressive. Probably one of the #1 reasons that a child might choose to be aggressive is to try to control their parents. They might try to control their surroundings, their outcomes, and so they decide to get angry. Another reason people choose to get aggressive is because they don't have the skills that they need to solve their problems. They get frustrated and they get panicked inside their brain. And so at that point, they just start to act out using that old emotional part of the brain that they've been using ever since they were babies. That part of the brain that led to crying and tantrums and whining and all of those types of things, that mighty amygdala. If you've subscribed to this channel already, then you know I talk a lot about the skills and principles of self-government and how to really have calmness in your parenting interactions. So let's spend a little bit of time right now discussing the skills of self-government that can help with some aggressive behaviors. So there are skills for children and there are skills for adults, but both the parents and the children need to know all of the skills of self-government, not just the child's skills. So even the child needs to learn what the parent skills are going to be so that they are completely predictable. This will decrease the anxiety and usually help curtail some of those aggressive outbursts. If the child is not worried about how you will respond to something that they've done wrong, but they can predict that it will be calm, it will be safe, it will maybe even be a connective type of interaction, and it will feel like everything's okay, then why do they need to go to the midbrain to try to solve their problems? They don't. Instead, they can trust you to carry on with what you said that you would do. So consistency is going to be key. You pre-teach ahead of time the 4 basic skills, the 5 teaching styles, how to solve problems. We teach about calmness and self-regulation, and then the parent just consistently follows through. Now, I know that's a big list of things that I just mentioned there, so let's just start with some of our basics. So what are some of the parenting basics you need? #1 in every one of the 5 teaching styles is to describe the situation. When you have a child who's being aggressive, one of the best things that you can do is metaphorically hold up a mirror with your words. So instead of emotionally reacting or taking their behavior personally, one of the best things that you can do is just to say, just now I gave you a no answer and you chose to yell at me. Or right now you're throwing pillows across the room and that could damage some property. Or you give some reason why it's not good. So you might say, right now you're throwing pillows across the room, which is a sign that you're angry, but doesn't really help you be understood. You give them a reason that matters to them for why they might want to change their behavior. Or you might say, right now you are yelling at the top of your lungs, or right now you are lying, or right now you are hitting the wall, and that could probably end up hurting your fist over time. You give them a little reason after the description of what is happening. But you do not emotionally react while you're giving this description. That is super important. Your calmness is key. We're going to talk a little bit more about that calmness at the end of this video. So then after you describe and give a reason why you should not do whatever the negative behavior is, then you describe what they should do. And you just say, what you should do is you should choose to keep a calm face, voice, and body, or you should choose to take a breath and then disagree appropriately with me. Give them another one of those 4 basic skills, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Give them a prompt to do one of those skills or one of the steps that are in those skills, and then your child will have a direction now that you're pointing. So we hold up a mirror, we point an arrow. That's the way that we help a person who's starting to go out of control and be aggressive. Now, it could be necessary that an aggressive person might need to know if they get to a point of really bad violence, somebody else could get hurt, they could get hurt, that you might have to do a little bit more of an intense type of an interaction. I do teach something in my TSG parenting course, which is at teachingselfgovernment.com, that is an intensive teaching. It's a skill set that parents and children can know about when a child is starting to go completely out of control. This would be very beneficial. But it could also be that a child has such a habit with aggression that maybe a parent just comes up with a certain type of plan for even restraining the child. And I hate to teach restraining, but every once in a while, a person does need to know that restraining will happen. And it actually can even make a person feel safe to be slightly held or restrained, depending on where they're at neurologically. So let's talk about this sense of security and calmness. There's so much more that I could share with you there. Calmness is kind of the first stop. If the child understands calmness, and if you understand calmness, and you have made a really good calm plan, then that helps you and your child navigate some of these difficult moments related to aggression. I'd like to talk more about that, and so I recommend, for more information on calmness and the skills of teaching self-government that you need to successfully navigate these aggressive moments, that you watch my next video, which is Child Behavior Problems and Solutions. I'll see you there.